Hi guys, Jason Smith here, down at Bray Golf Range in Suffolk. EPIC MAX Driver. So Callaway's new driver for 2021. Well, they've got others as well. They've got the LS and also the Speed, but Max time. Just quick difference between the head shapes between the Max LS and the Speed. The Max and the Max LS, head shape, head footprint nearly, is basically near enough identical. I might be able to see, I'll see if I can pop up on the screen any kind of comparison. The Speed looks like a big round ball. It just looks round. So yeah, this one is fatter, hunkers to the ground. This is the Max Forgiveness version. Max. So you got jailbreak, but not pins anymore. It's a frame. It's a, yeah, basically just glues the top and bottom together, stop things flexing and more ball speed and stuff like that. Now, will it give you more ball speed? No. I mean, out the middle, these things have been governed for years. So the only way you can make more ball speed is if you swing it faster. However, what things do, tech does nowadays, is it makes off-centre hits much better. And as average golfers, generally speaking, don't hit the middle every single time, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to increase your average ball speed. There you go. So we hit some shots with it. This is the most max help maxed out ever. Yeah, it's that massive weight at the back there that's helping. And it is on a track, so you can move it. And much like the LS that I've just done, the Max LS, that track actually works quite well. It does have a distinct change in flight, which is good. But let's go have a quick chat about feel, tech, and all this lot. Yeah, it's a different flight straight away. It's a spinnier flight. It's straight, it's very straight. Where's that tee gone? For me, it's absolutely no good whatsoever. So I'm going to put a certain amount of speed into this, and this will be, like for like loft, probably a good 25 yards or so in the air shorter than the LS version. But it will be straighter. So if you're someone who's got a little bit of speed and you don't mind, not say penalising yourself, but if you don't mind sort of coming back a little bit and you want to hit more fairways, something like this is going to work wonders. That's the whole idea of Max, is the fact that it's just straight. If you're going to hit off centre, then effectively what happens is it still goes straight. Okay, if you're going to point the face left or right by 10 degrees, that's where the ball's going to go. But if you put a decent swing on it, but just strike it poorly, that's what the Max does. So we've got a triaxial carbon crown that we've had for a little while now. Sounds really weird when you, yeah, carbon crown, isn't it? But it just allows them to get the weight from the top into that massive chunk. And that chunk weighs that much. It's quite a lot. It does make it go straight. It's different noise than the LS. It's louder. Definitely louder. I'm not getting that tee again. It is definitely louder. It's a lot more explosive crack. It sounds a bit more hollow. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you'd have to get some form of analysis tool to work out exactly what the difference is in noise. And obviously that's perceptive for different someone's ears. One person will think it's different to the other one. So when I've done the testing for this, because I've already done the testing, one thing I found is, because I, again, did the same sort of thing I did with the LS, I basically got someone, an anonymous person, basically to change that weight. So I gave them the head, off you go, change it, or don't change it, move it, put it back, anything, I don't know. And then I grab it, don't look, get down and hit it and see what the result is. And out of, from years past, the Callaway weights effectively were a little bit, I don't want to say useless, because that's kind of degrading what the drivers are, and they're very, very good drivers, but effectively they didn't really do much. This year is the first year I've actually found myself, and for a custom fitting side of view, point of view, that weight is potentially brilliant to be able to dial someone's flight in, because it does make a difference to my release point, which is interesting in itself. It is louder. It is distinctly louder. You can hear it over the LS. It's distinctly straighter. That's what you want for. You're not going to buy a Max because you want to go the max distance. You're buying a Max because you want a max help. That's what it's designed to do. And it is nice. I'm not quite sure. I couldn't put up with the distance loss, personally. It just spins it too much, so obviously it brings it back, but it is straight. So you could argue, if you're going through a period of time where you're struggling with driver, you could really understand necessarily why you would then go to a Max. Really, really good. But it is such a nice... It is, yeah, it's just louder. It's a very, very similar sound, feel to the LS, but just a bit more maxed up. So, right, let's go have a look at how this performs. Obviously out the middle, yes, but also when you don't quite catch it. In the custom fitting studio, I've done it already, so let's go see how well it did. So now in the custom fitting studio on the FSX PC to show you how the Callaway EPIC MAX got on. So the data set that I'm going to put up in front of you, this is rather than doing the sea of data to start with, let's just go cut straight to the chase when it comes to compares and look at the weird and wonderful shots. The compare that screen that I'm going to put on there, which is the ball data first, there we go, has got information with all the weird and wonderful shots included. The whole idea of trying to test just how good this Max is. So on average, ball speed 160.7, launching at 14.6, but 2.8 spin. Again, that is a bit much. Now this is the Max head, the Max help. It's maxed out. Unfortunately, it's also max spin. But generally speaking, when you have max spin, you also get tighter dispersion. That dispersion ring that you see there, that is, again, with all the interesting shots in there that I purposely did to see how good this thing would physically perform at hitting it in different parts of the face. So that, I've done another data set where you can see in a little while just how tight normal shots are. So yeah, as I say, spinning a bit too much, but going quite well, 275 on average and 298. Let's just go by club head data. So efficiency 1.44, performing as good as anything else out there. Head speed 112.7, dynamic loft 21 degrees, face and path basically 0, 0. There we go. And strike, even though that looks, foresight, please fix that. It's something like 5 mil toe, 2 mil low. Yeah. Let's go by the weird and wonderfuls, because this does very, very well, considering I've hit this off some very interesting spots. Let's just do first one. Low heel, 9 mil low, 5 mil heel. That's 0.7 path and 1.1 closed. That is finished off 17 yards left. Now, that might seem quite a lot, but that is going 300 yards in total. So, within reason, 17 yards at 300 with a miss strike is not bad at all. Let's go do another one, low heel. 11 mil low, 8 mil heel. Not very nice whatsoever. It's lost a little bit of distance at 268, but 12 yards left from 11 mil low, 8 mil heel. That's impressive. The next one we'll do. The only concern I have about the Callaways, and I say the Callaways, it is with all of them, is that gear effect does seem to be quite pronounced, as in, for the guys who don't understand what gear effect is, when you hit the middle, you basically get whatever the dynamics of the club is, path and face with a middle strike, whatever you do with the club and face to path and everything else, that's what you get. When you don't hit the middle, there is a certain amount of gearing as the face twists, as the golf ball hits the face, you'll get different spins. So heels will normally cut and the toes will normally draw, that idea. And manufacturers have roll and bulge on the faces. Drivers, etc., like fairway woods and hybrids, they're not straight. They take into account this wanting for gear effect. Yeah, anyway. So it does seem that on initial testing, they are quite pronounced when it comes to gear effect. So 0.2 path, 0.3 closed. Under any normal situation, that would be within reason, dead straight. This has gone with a 7 mil high and 26 mil toe. Bear in mind, 26 mil toe is an inch off geometric middle. So it is fairly toey. But that has made it basically start 4.6 degrees to the right and then, I wouldn't say hook, but it has, yeah. I mean, it's got good distance. And the reason why it's got good distance at 281 carry is because of the high toe strike. The highness launches it higher. The highness and the toe gears the spin down. So as a general rule, the Max spins way too much for me. Hitting it high toe would be the cheeky way at trying to get some bomb balls out of this thing. Let's go to the next one. Another 281 carry, 1.4 from the inside, 0.6 open. So again, that should start right and then slightly cut within reason. 7mm high, 25mm toe. And that has now effectively drew. So that started 6 degrees right with left-hand spin, so it's finished 6.8 yards offline and gone 281. It's launched in 16.6 and spinning down at 18.49 because of the strike. And that would be my cheeky way at trying to get long balls out of the Max by having to hit it high toe and having to watch that ball, I would say hook, but a pronounced movement to the left, starting it out right and moving in to try and maximize the carry. Now, the problem is I've knocked this down to as low as it will possibly go. There is no way that the Max is just not, the CG of the head is just not geared for me at all. That's what the LS does. So I've also done some other tests. I've also done some quick tests with the EPIC MAX and the LS together. Now I've done these at sensible speeds, about 110 or so miles an hour. I'll show you what I mean. That's the reason why I did it. So, ball speed first, you'll be able to see the difference between the dispersion rings. The Max dispersion ring here, the yellow, has taken out all of the weird and wonderful shots that I hit to try and see, obviously, how well it performs when you're trying to hit it well. And you can see the dispersion ring compared to the red is tiny, but you can see where the red is going. EPIC MAX and then the EPIC MAX LS, there's a slight difference in ball speed. It's 2 miles an hour, but yeah, I think it was 1 mile an hour difference in the actual the swing speed of it. So nothing much whatsoever. Yeah, 1.1. When it comes to launch, basically exactly the same. Look at the spin difference from 2.5 to 1700. That's the difference that our fairly high spinning head and a fairly low spinning head can make. You're looking at 400 RPM, but if you're looking at both ways, there's 800 RPM potentially. And look at the difference in carry. You're looking at nearly 10 yards and a good 15 yards or so potentially in total distance. Now that depends a lot on fairways. In the summertime, when you're looking at the yellow, which is the EPIC MAX, is descending decidedly steeper than the EPIC MAX LS, you're going to get a lot more bounce and roll out of the LS than you ever are. And if you look at the club head data, there's literally a mile an hour into it, 1.1 miles an hour, and I was swinging the Max LS slightly slower by 1.1 miles an hour. So there's your ball speed slight difference. It's very difficult to be a robot and trying to get exact compares, but the LS is already give or take 10 yards through the air already further. You maximize or match the speeds, maybe another 2 or so. So, as you can see there, within a degree or so, I've put the Max LS up to the same loft, or it's very, very close. It's half a degree difference between that and the standard Max. You can see the difference, strikes hardly anything whatsoever at all. That's the difference that you get with a low spin head. The problem is you look at the dispersion rings. Can you cope with a dispersion ring which is getting bigger? I'd be quite happy. I don't want to necessarily, I'd rather go full speed like I did in the LS test and let it just go. The Max for me, it just penalizes too much when it comes to overall distance. The Max against the LS is by far less forgiving than the Max, but it's longer. Feel-wise, they're basically identical. There is a slightly more echoey noise to the Max than the LS, but that's all it is. It's slightly louder because it slightly echoes more, but more hollow sound, not quite sure. But feel-wise, they both feel very, very similar. It's classic Callaway feeling. The Max is an exceptionally forgiving golf club. It would be difficult to try and, it's very close to Ping forgiveness. Ping is and has been known as the daddy when it comes to forgiving heads. They're not necessarily massively long, but they are very, very straight. And this is getting very close to ping forgiveness when it comes to the standard Max. It's just that I wouldn't like the spin profile that will obviously drag the distance too far back. So anyway, hope you liked the video. If you did, click the like button below. Next to it, a little red button, that's the subscribe button, and next to it, a little bell icon. If you click that one, that will let you know next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.